This is Matchless Kung Fu, a super cool and equally super hilarious open-world sandbox RPG story builder / Kung Fu life simulator. The setting is a wuxia world on steroids. Everybody and their mother are a Kung Fu master. You start as a nobody, you don't even remember who you are, and your Kung Fu skills are whack. But fear not, for an empty vessel is perfect for absorbing knowledge. Explore the world, meet powerful people, learn ridiculously OP Kung Fu techniques, acquire better gear, beat up the wildlife, beg for money, beat up people so hard they forget how to do Kung Fu, own people with facts and logic so hard you break their minds, run into a powerful Kung Fu master and realize, oh no, I've pushed my luck too far, die and do it all over again with a different character in a different world, and much more. In this video we'll be playing as Yin, a vagabond with no memories of how he got to where he is and nothing but the clothes on his back. Wait, he doesn't even have that. But what he does have is a fierce determination to become the strongest Kung Fu master out there. Can he go from a complete nobody to a wuxia Kung Fu legend? That's what we'll find out in today's video, sponsored by Matchless Kung Fu. Don't you miss the game while it's on sale. While it's already very reasonably priced, it's gonna have a 20% reduction until November 19th. Modding tools are also coming on the 7th, so this game is gonna get even crazier with mods. Our story begins with our protagonist, Yin Shubiao. Yin is a nobody who does not know his parents and does not have a special lineage, meaning he is already at a big disadvantage in the Kung Fu world. Yin awakes in an unfamiliar house, one he has never seen before. A roaming warrior asks how he is feeling. Oh no, Yin realizes. He is naked and has no memories. Probably another wild Saturday night with the boys. The roamer explains that he found him dying in the wilderness and has rescued him and brought him back home and nursed him back to full health. The roamer exudes a powerful aura. His strength level is transcendent. This is a max level character who is hanging out in a low level area. The roamer asks Yin if he remembers the basics of Kung Fu, to which Yin asks for a reminder. Combat in this game can be very in-depth, and I'll do my best to explain. You have a yellow meter that indicates health and a blue one that indicates energy. If your health reaches 0, bye-bye. And then the opponent can choose how to punish you. Fights are played out in rounds. Every round you have access to an amount of moves or strikes, of which there are 5 types: fists, kicks, palm strikes, weapon attack, and concealed weapon attack. Each move type counters and is countered by at least one other type, and this chart right here explains that. Your opponent always plans their moves first, you can see them in order right here. Your job is to choose the correct order of moves to counter or at least mitigate as many of the opponent's hits as possible. If you counter 50% of their attacks, you break them for that round and can inflict the rest of your moves as damage freely. Chaining together the right moves also gives you access to special Kung Fu ultimates, which do a lot of damage and can be blocked by your opponent. Combat is very challenging to master in this game, but once you get the hang of it, it feels so good to outsmart your opponents. I thanked the roamer for his lessons and wanted to start my journey, only to be interrupted by a wolf. What does he possibly want? Why, to challenge me to a Kung Fu duel, of course. This is the wuxia world on steroids after all. The wolf was easy to beat, as most of his moves were kicks that I could easily counter. By completing this challenge, I unlocked the first plot of land, Skyland Village, which I could now freely place in the world, building the world however I wanted. I gathered some materials before heading to the village, which brought me to a hidden chest containing a Kung Fu move inside, the Tortoise Fist. A powerful move which you can perform by chaining together 3 fists. This was gonna become the bread and butter of my build. I unlock another tile, Eagle Hunting Platform, but we'll come back to that later. As soon as I set foot in Skyland Village, a local hunter approaches me, screaming about monkeys trashing their place. She explains that some monkeys have been driving away all the game in the region, leaving the hunter with nothing to hunt down. Well, that's just Mother Nature, no? Nah, these monkeys apparently even followed her home to steal her wine. This was some serious monkey business, and I had to get involved. I told the hunter I'd go deal with monkeys, which unlocked the Monkey Hill tile, allowing me to expand the world even more. I enter a cave in Monkey Hill and find the area's hidden treasure, a sword. Now we'll have access to weapon attacks. Oi, which of you monkeys has been stealing wine, huh? Fists flew in the air, kicks connected to heads, and I even pulled out my sword to slice and dice these thieving monkeys. Most of their combos had kicks, similar to the wolf from earlier, and with some lucky pulls on fist strikes, I was able to counter them every time and also activate Torto's Fist, allowing me to finish these monkeys off Fist of the North Star style. On my way back to turn in the mission, I am told by someone that bandits are starting to grow bold, attacking travelers and relieving them of the burden of their coins. Something must be done to stop these criminals, but it's not gonna be me just yet. I'm still too weak. Plop down the land, and like all my responsibilities in life, postpone them for later. On the way to the Eagles plot, I find a man who dropped a sack of coins and couldn't find it anymore. I agree to help and find it. I decide to bring it back, expecting the game to reward me for being the good guy. And what did I get? A pat on the back from the dude and a feel-good story you'd see on YouTube Shorts at 3 AM. I chose to look at the bright side. The guy clearly likes me now. Maybe he'll teach me some cool skill or kung fu move. Nope, the guy's even more hopeless as a warrior than I am. Screw it, we ball. The Eagles plot challenge was pretty straightforward. Beat up some eagles for some feathers to help a blacksmith make a cool weapon, and reach the top platform for the treasure. I met the hunter from earlier, she paid me for dealing with the monkey business, and I climbed up to deal with the eagle business now. The eagles were no match for me, cause they mainly used weapon attacks with their talons, which I just kicked my way through. I reached the top of the platform and meditate at a cool meditation spot. This activated an ancient Chinese kung fu technique inside Yin called the double jump. I doubt you've ever heard of it. I give the blacksmith the feathers and she's so grateful that she gives me her old clothes. Hidden treasure found, animals abused, drip acquired. This plot was now conquered. Bring me another. With my new clothes and my sword and some fights under my belt, I thought, how bad could these bandits be? So I decided to go pay them a visit. This decision was the start of a big drama, similar to those 700 episodes long Turkish drama shows, but I didn't know it yet. To prepare, I upgraded my Torto's Fist. Wait, am I pronouncing that word right? Hold on.
Tortoise.
What the hell? I bet some of you are really mad right now, huh? I upgraded my Tortoise Fist using all Kung Fu language I've been gaining. I cooked some of the eagle meat and rested a bit. Testosterone was coursing through my veins right now, and I was itching for a fight. Those bandits won't stand a chance. How do I know? There's one right there. Let's go find out. Before I started the fight, I decided to talk some shit first, which is an actual mechanic in this game. These are verbal duels, a minigame that uses your character's morale as HP. Pro tip, don't try to understand this mechanic, you won't. Just pick positive cards or negative cards and stick with them until you got a good build. Then, keep skipping unless you get better cards. At the end, you're gonna lose anyway, so it doesn't matter. The bandit was a professional hater, so she destroyed my character's mind with facts and logic. My character, of course, had a reasonable response, which is to start throwing hands because his feelings were hurt. This is the moment that I realized the bandit was too strong for me. Look at her HP level, now look at mine. I thought this would be like another game where the bandits were just a stepping stone. Nah, I did my best to fight and fend off her attacks, but she was just too strong. She ended me with a kick to the jewels, which in this game has a chance to make you a eunuch. A powerful Kung Fu master sees this, and since us bros can feel it when another bro's jewels are hurt, he intervenes, and he saves my junk in time. He knocks the bandit out, and while he's lecturing me on the fact that I should be more careful, I was too busy looting her and not listening to him. Another Kung Fu master sees this, and impressed with my resourcefulness, advises me to join a Kung Fu sect or school. This was it. This was the way to gain true power and learn in a safe environment how to unlock my true potential. I ask her about the Flame Sect because I want to be a Fire Nation Chad, and she notes it down for me. I head there immediately, and then it dawns on me. The sect is in a flaming hot region. Just setting foot there lights me on fire immediately, and I would need protective clothing to be able to even enter the location. None of the clothing I had would do the trick, so I'd need to find some to buy or loot them off of someone. I looked everywhere. No one was selling such a set. So I retreated to a serene plot of land I had unlocked earlier and started working on a house. Maybe I could craft a weaving station and craft the set that I needed, but even if I don't, at least I'll have a house. Before long, my house was built, and finally, a place to call home. But wait, I don't even know how to build a weaving station. So I headed to a nearby city where I noticed a fabric shop. Hopefully he'll have a heat protection set, and if not, I can convince him how to teach me to build a weaving station. As soon as I set foot in the city, I am jumped by someone. Later on, I would realize that this is the friend of the bandit from before. She had been tracking me down to avenge her friend. She demanded all my money, and I really needed the money to buy that potential heat protection gear, so I refused, and the fight started. She was a formidable warrior, and I would have definitely lost to her before, But up to this point, I had been hanging out more at the Monkey Hill, terrorizing innocent monkeys to train myself, and I had even taken down the monkey boss of the region, which gave me a lot of experience. I kept overwhelming her with punches, which countered her kicks, which in turn prevented a lot of her turns. Doing all this built several instances of Tortoise. Wait, how is it pronounced again?
Tortoise.
Doing all this built several instances of Tortoise Fist, which I hoarded up until the end and unleashed 5 of them in a row. Now it really looked like something out of Fist of the North Star. Onlookers watched, including a huge monkey for some reason. And before long, the bandit was on the floor. I looted her, and as you guys expect, she didn't have any heat resistance gear. I entered the fabric shop with sparkles in my eyes, thinking he's gonna have a wide selection of clothes. And while he did, he had no heat protective gear. At this point, I was really losing hope. I went back to the music place to chill and think of something else. I started playing some bangers. At some point, I even thought to switch ambitions and give up my kung fu dreams in exchange of dropping the most fire mixtapes on SoundCloud. Maybe this was my true calling in life after all. Wait, what the? The music house owner was trying to pickpocket me. Apparently, she got so jealous of my sweet attire and my sick beats that she developed a grudge towards me. A certified hater was born. I got up and left, heading back home. And oh no, the unthinkable happened. On my way back home, a coalition of my biggest haters was formed, and they had hunted me down. And you are never gonna believe who the members of the coalition are. The Deadly Trio were the 2 bandit ladies from before, and my biggest hater of all time, the music place lady. I was now the equivalent of a rapper being jumped on the street, getting killed because his mixtape was too fire. I put up an okay fight, but I was outnumbered 3-1 by people whose kung fu was much more refined than mine. I never stood a chance, especially since they knew my biggest weakness, which was a kick to the groin. With no bros in sight to intervene to help, I received the beating of a lifetime. On top of that, they looted me clean, completely empty. Everything I had worked for up until that point was gone. I woke up later and limped my way back home, hoping to recover and lick my wounds and to figure out what to do next. To make matters worse, as soon as I got home, there's a guy in front of my house with a comically large weapon on his back. It's an assassin. He was hired by the music house lady to actually kill me so that my blood isn't on her hands. I activated my inner beast because I needed to clutch this fight. If I lose this fight, I will lose more than just my inventory or some kung fu. I would lose my life. While the assassin had better gear than I did, considering I am naked, his kung fu skills were lacking, and I could easily counter all his moves. Even though I was on death's door and even one special move would kill me, I never allowed him to trigger any. He never even landed a hit. I beat the assassin, and once again, I had some clothes on my back. Enough is enough. My life was now in danger. I was being targeted over my fire music. I needed to get that heat protective gear, and I needed to join the flame school ASAP. I went back to the fabric shop owner and I pleaded with him to take me in and let me use his weaving station. In exchange, I taught him all the kung fu I knew and several survival skills. The fabric shop owner now understood my struggle and was hospitable enough to let me stay in the shop, even at night. He taught me how to craft clothes and armors, and I unlocked the recipes for the heat protective gear that I needed. I set out to a nearby mountain to get some essential ingredients. I broke down the assassin's clothes to get the silk and fabric necessary, and I was able to finally craft a headband and some pants with heat protection. They proved to be just enough to let me enter the sect zone without immediately catching on fire. I was finally making a breakthrough. I got to the sect's mountain and thankfully I qualified to join. They accepted me and gave me a warm welcome to the school. This place had some powerful people, and they shared a lot of knowledge with me. It was now up to me to train hard to improve my skills, and train I surely did. Days went by, weeks even, and Yin would just not stop training. The pain, his body breaking down, his fists bleeding, his mental state devolving, nothing stopped him, for he was determined to become an insanely powerful being. Motivated by revenge. Several weeks later, Yin had completely mastered every single skill the Flame Sect had to offer. A key special move was the Wave Bomb, a powerful attack that didn't need any combos and could be unleashed on turn 1 of combat before the opponent even makes a single move. With the right Meridian combination and enough Kung Fu knowledge invested in this special move, Yin could end fights before they even started. Yin headed out of the sect. He headed to a nearby clinic where he treated all his physical, mental, and chi ailments. While healing, he also did some meditation and figured out this combination of meridians, which made his moves insanely overpowered. His Wave Palm attack now did thousands of damage, and he could now activate it twice upon the fight starting. He was now ready for revenge. He first tracked down the 2 bandits back to their lair. The first bandit showed herself accidentally outside the lair while trying to pickpocket Yin. With a smirk, he attacked her. He unleashed his Wave Palm, which was so overkill that it would immediately kill the bandit unless he held back. Consumed by wrath and his bloodthirst, Yin gave it his all and blasted the bandit into smithereens. Her heart stopped immediately and she died on the spot. Yin was now a killer, a big no-no in the Kung Fu world. But Yin did not care. He justified this in his head by telling himself that they were evildoers, but deep inside, he knew it was his need for vengeance motivating him. He buried the corpse and proceeded to continue deeper into the lair. The second bandit never even saw it coming, man. Yin sprinted at her and immediately unleashed his powerful Wave Palm. Just like her partner, the second bandit immediately died to Yin's first attack. He buried her, destroyed their lair, and walked out. Yin realized how insanely strong he was, but he had no thoughts about with strength comes responsibility or anything like that. It just made him feel great. There was now one more person to hunt down. Yin headed to an empty land near the city, knowing the music house lady would not resist coming to attack him upon seeing he survived the assassination and standing in the middle of nowhere with no one to intervene. And indeed she came. But this is where the plot twist happens. The music house lady knew what was happening all along, and she only saw one way to avoid his wrath. She had secretly joined the Flame Sect after he did. That way, they would both be fellow disciples, and he'd be forced to reconcile with her, lest he be punished by the sect. A clever move, but she never factored in that his rage far outweighed his fear of the consequences, and he attacked her nonetheless. Yin did not use his Wave Palm move, instead choosing to prolong the fight as long as possible. He did not want it to end so fast. He wanted the music house lady to feel the pain she had caused him. He took his time with this enemy, slowly breaking down her body, breaking down her spirit. She stood no chance against the new Yin. He humiliated her with all the cool moves he had learned at the Flame Sect. The music house lady just could not keep up and soon collapsed, bleeding. Yin knocked her down and proceeded to break her legs. He looted her, regained his gear and money back, and more on top of that. He pulled the music house lady up and proceeded to break her kung fu over and over again until she had no more special moves. She was as weak as they come, even weaker than a freshly made new character. But this was still not enough. As she tried to crawl back towards the city, towards civilization where someone could intervene and save her, she never saw Yin's Wave Palm strike coming. His biggest enemy was now dead. On his way back home, Yin contemplated how people said revenge does not feel good, and he thought about how wrong they were. Yin had never felt better, but his thoughts were interrupted by a fellow Flame Sect disciple. He then realized he was now a murderer, and he had murdered a fellow disciple, and he was now being challenged to a duel as a punishment for his actions. Yin would not have it. He will not be beaten again. He will not be disrespected again. Leng Meng, his fellow Flame Sect disciple, was in awe of how strong he had become, as her heart stopped when he unleashed his devastating Wave Palm. Yin buried her and retreated back home, now a traitor to the Flame Sect. Yin meditated on top of the mountain in front of his house, thinking about his journey and how strong he has become. Surely, more challenges will appear in the future, and he will be hunted down further for his misunderstood actions, but he will be prepared. For it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.